Hello everyone, I'm Lauren and welcome back to another episode of Full Project Analysis series. Today I will be talking about Elta. Elta is situated along Clementi Avenue 1 and is going to be the last plot there. We have just gotten information that Parktown Residences at Tampines is going to be launching on the same day as Elta. Now, the important questions would be, how will the developer then be doing their pricing strategy on Elta? So this brings me back to 3 months back in November when Nava Grove launched on the same day as EOK. And coincidentally, Nava Grove is also developed by MCL. So in today's project analysis series, I am going to be doing something really very special for you. Especially if you are a serious buyer looking to purchase Elta, you should stay till the end of this video and I assure you that there are a lot of takeaway for you to be very well prepared to go for Elta. So in today's analysis, I will be focusing a lot more on how do we predict the prices for Elta. As you know, for new launches, the price list is always released on the day itself. And of course, your queue number will probably be 2 days before. You only have that 1-2 days to do your preparation work. And imagine this. What if you actually have the chance to get a full list of pricing strategy even before you go into the booking center? Is it powerful? Yes, right? Imagine you have the full price list. It will be a breeze for you to shortlist your unit basing on your financials, and then it will be so easy for you to even make a decision like that instead of just doing it right at the booking counter. I can tell you on launch day, especially on the booking day, it's going to be so hectic that the environment is going to be so stressful that if you're not led properly by an advisor, you will definitely be at a loss, even if you have 30 shortlisted units. But if these shortlisted units are very popular, and of course depending on your queue number again, there is a chance that even before your turn or right before your turn, all these units are gone. So why do I find that this pricing strategy, or rather this predicted price list, is very important? Because so that you are able to be very well prepared. Let's say if it's my turn and my first unit choice is gone, should I look to add on to upgrade, or should I be downgrading, going for a smaller unit basing on my financial standing? And if you are only going to do the calculation there and then, I can tell you, you will be so stressed out that the chances of you making a bad decision will be very high. So actually, this is already what I have been doing to my existing clients. Right before the booking day, after they have gotten their balloting number, I will be running through with them what are the options available and what are the price prediction that we will have from the lowest all the way to the highest. And I have to say that usually 80 to 90% of our predictions are rather accurate. Okay, without further ado, let's dive right in. So these are some Elta artist impression. And let's look at the project information. Elta is developed by MCL and CSC Land. Okay, this is a 99 leasehold project and there will be 2 blocks of 39-story residential buildings. And actually, you make a comparison between Elta to Nava Grove. They are pretty much similar. Okay, both developed by MCL within a short back-to-back around a few months apart, and both are also high-level condominium. I actually did a very intensive research on using Nava Grove's pricing strategy on launch day to predict the pricing for Elta, which I will be sharing with you later. Site plans and distribution chart. As you can see, this is the site plan of Elta along Clementi Avenue 1. So on the left side here, we have Clavon, and this would be Clement Canopy. And then here, this would be your AYE, highway facing. So Elta is actually situated between Clavon and Clement Canopy. There are 2 facings. One would be over here towards the Nanhua High School. Nanhua High School is over here it should be about 6 to 7 story high. And then the other facing would be over here towards the AYE. So in today's episode, I won't be touching so much on premium facing versus non-premium facing because to be honest, for Elta, right, initially we would have thought that the highway facing would be less premium, right, because of the noise and all that coming from AYE, which is actually a major expressway. But after analyzing deeper, we realized that the developer actually placed the bigger units, which means the 4-bedder, the 5-bedder, facing the highway. And this sets us back thinking, actually, usually the bigger units should have a better view because it's for own stay, right? And the developer placed it in such a way. Is there a reason why? So actually, if you were to clear a certain level, even though you are facing the expressway, you are actually looking towards the Pandan Reservoir view. I would think that if you can go up to level 39, the view might be pretty much unblocked. So maybe that's why I won't be touching so much on the premium and non-premium facing, but I will be showing you how I do the price prediction for different level. For the distribution charts and unit mix, we can see that in Elta, you have 1-bedder plus study all the way to 5-bedder. And with the exception of a 3 compact that you have 2 stacks, the rest are only 1 stacks each. Diving straight into the developer pricing strategy for Elta. As mentioned previously, I will be using Nava Grove to do a case study on how I'm going to predict the pricing for Elta. So this is a site plan of Nava Grove, and Nava Grove, similarly, it has a few facing, likely premium and non-premium, but as mentioned, I will not be focusing so much on the premium that is going to be placed on the more premium facing. It is more on the whole prediction using the strategy as a whole. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Nava Grove forward facing 2-bedder at 700 square feet. Pardon me, I feel that this part is gonna be very intensive, so please follow, and if you don't understand, please replay the video, alright? Okay, so let's look at how the strategy works. Based on our study and research, there is a per floor jump of 0.5% throughout Nava Grove, alright? That is the strategy number 1. This is for the 2-bedroom, okay? And the strategy number 2, we can see that on level 8, there is a 1% premium jump instead of the base 0.5%. And the same thing, if you go higher, level 18, there is a price premium of 2.5% jump instead of the base 0.5%. Okay, and for their third strategy is that right after the premium, there will be a same price for the next 2 units. Okay, let's take a look at this. So right after there is a price premium loaded on level 8, level 8 and level 9 actually have the same pricing. Okay, and same thing at level 18, they load a 2%, and after that 18 and 19 actually also have the same pricing. So with that, right, we do find that the developer is very consistent in these strategies. So let me just do a conclusion. So level 8, there is an additional premium of plus 0.5% on top of the base 0.5, which makes it a 1% premium. Okay, and on level 18, there is a 2% premium on top of the base 0.5% premium. So total, it will be 2% plus 0.5. From the first to the highest level, there should be a total additional premium of 2.5%. However, do take note that because there is a same price for these 2 units, so we will minus off 0.5% and 0.5% here. So all in all, 2.5 minus 1%, we are going to see a 1.5% overall. What does this mean? It means that from the lowest level starting from till the highest per floor jump will be a 0.5%. And once you reach the last unit, it should be plus additional 1.5%. That is how the strategy of the pricing is going to be like. And similarly, if we take a Nava Grove, Pine Grove facing for its 3-bedder, the developer actually uses the exact same strategy. Instead of 0.5%, they are using a 0.4% jump. Usually for a bigger quantum, the jump is slightly smaller, but it is not too much of a difference, only 0.1%. Okay? And that is for the base strategy, strategy 1. Each per floor jump is plus 0.4%. Right? And then when it goes to strategy number 2, we can see that at certain levels, the developer actually loaded a additional premium. So at in this case, level 8, okay, we see that from 7 to 8, there is a 0.8% premium loaded. Previously for 2-bedder, it was a 1%. And then from 17 to 18, okay, so on this 18 level, there is a 2.4% being loaded. Previously, it was 2.5%. So it is the exact same strategy. And lastly, same thing again, okay, right after they load the premium, the next 2 units are the same price. As you can see over here for level 8, level 9, as well as 18 and 19. Okay, so this is for 2-bedder, 3-bedder, and let's just to check again whether or not developer is being very consistent. We also did one more on the 4-bedroom for Nava Grove. And you can see strategy 1, 2, 3, exactly the same. So with that, right, I'm going to repeat again how we are going to do this. The lowest floor, there will be a starting from price. All right. And the highest floors formula, meaning to say from lowest to highest, the highest floor formula will always be a 0.5% per floor jump all the way. And until you reach the highest, you add on a 1.5% premium. And that's how we derive the pricing strategy. Okay, let's go straight into 1-bedroom analysis for Elta. For this 1-bedroom plus study, it is 506 square feet, facing the Nanhua High School. And then there is only one stack, 36 units. If you were to take a look at the layout here, it is pretty much a standard layout. You do have a study corner and then a kitchenette. You have a master bath that is, you can enter it from the common as well as the master room. It is really quite standard. There's nothing much to talk about. So one thing that's sticking out here is actually a parting wall that's between this and the next unit. Really a very normal standard 1-bedder. So let's start with this price prediction. Okay, let's use back the same formula that we have derived from Nava Grove and apply it on Elta to see how it's going to be like. Are you ready? Okay, so assuming the starting price is 2,200, the lowest floor would be around 1.113 million starting from. Okay, and once you go all the way to the last unit at level 39, it will be around 1.344 million. Is this a clearer gauge when you have the pricing listed out like that for you to see? And this is even right before any pricing is out from the developer. Like I've mentioned, we may not be 100% accurate and the starting from price is just an assumption. But the formula is the same. You can apply the same formula once the starting from price is out from the developer. And it gives you a clearer picture. You don't have to wait until you go to the booking center and ask your agent to check before you make your decision, because before that, you should have already gotten your budget, your financial calculation, all that sorted out very clearly. And you can make very, very informed choices on the booking day. And that's the thing that I want to help you guys to be prepared. All right. And then let's see. So how I derive this number, I'm just going to run through it again. Strategy number 1, average per floor jump, we are going to use 0.5%. And strategy number 2, there is a 1% premium. We actually load it on approximately level 13 and a 2.5% loaded on approximately level 26. Okay? Then the strategy number 3 is right after there is a premium loaded, the next 2 units would be the same price. So with that, right, that is how we use the same formula that I have explained earlier to derive this. But just a disclaimer, I feel that even though throughout I'm going to use 2002 to make it easier, I personally feel that basing on experience, a smaller unit may have a higher starting from PSF. So do bear that in mind, and then like I've mentioned, once you have the formula, it's not hard for you to do your own calculation. Okay, so one beta are usually more for investors. So let's look at the rental yield. Okay, for low floor versus high floor rental yield. Since Elta is a high story project, I feel that low floor versus high floor would be a situation that you will likely be in when you are selecting your unit. So it is very crucial for you to decide how you should be strategizing. All right, so we are going to use Cleveland's data. Cleveland is going to be your immediate competitor because first thing, they are just right beside you. And secondly, they are the newest there for now, right? And then, okay, let's take a look. For their level 4, they have rented it out at 3,006 in December 2024. And in the same month, their level 27 was rented out for 3,007. As you can see, the low floor and high floors rental is not so much of a difference. Translating it into Elta. Okay, so Elta, 1 bed plus study, assuming a monthly rental of 3,006. If you were to buy a low floor at level 4, this would be the price quantum that you are going in, and the rental yield is at 3.9%, right? And if you were to buy a high floor at level 39, your price to enter will be around 1.344 million. Rental yield is at 3.2%. Can you now see how clearly you can see the numbers? Just because you have a predicted price list for you to refer to. I'm not sure about you, but I'm really blown away because when I see this right even before I got my queue number or I go into the booking room, I feel so empowered because I know that I can make a lot of decisions just based on all these numbers rather than just numbers in the air floating, and I don't have anything to work on. Do you agree with me? Right. Okay, so now with this number, we can safely say that our strategy to buy into a 1+ study would be to buy as low price as possible. Because as you can see from Cleveland, that high floor and low floor doesn't really guarantee you a higher rental for higher floor, right? And ultimately, if you are coming in as an investor, the rental yield and the ROI are still the most important. Okay, so now moving on to our 2-bedder analysis. For the 2-bedder, the first unit type would be a 2-bed, 1-bath, dumbbell layout, type B1 and type B2. Both are 614 square feet, and for type B1, it is a school facing, and for type B2 is AYE facing. Just FYI, because like I've mentioned, I will not be emphasizing so much on the facing, all right? Okay, so let's dive right into the layout. If you put them side by side, you can't really tell what's the difference. And in fact, the size is also the same. But if you really want to pinpoint on which one is better, I would say that B2 is slightly better. Okay, and why do I say so? Let's take a look at this. For B1, right, the rooms are almost facing each other. And for B2, they are slightly staggered. Okay, why is it better? So imagine you have guests coming over and they are like around this area in your living. They can actually see the 2 rooms very clearly. Whereas in here, if they are in this dining, right, they can't really see this room because it's further away. I mean, I know it is not an obvious reason, and it shouldn't even be a reason to for you to decide. But I feel that, like I mentioned, if you really want to pinpoint, this would be one thing that I want to highlight, because other than that, everything else is about the same. Okay, now let's go to the price prediction for Elta 2-bed 1-bath 614 square feet. Assuming starting price 2002, the lowest floor unit would be 1.35 and the highest floor would be 1.63. What do you think of all these numbers? I personally think that it's actually very good, right? 2-bed 1-bath starting from 1.35 in Clementi, and it's a development by MCL, brand new. This kind of pricing is actually very, very palatable, and if you were to look at the rental yield, I think can buy. Yeah. And the next unit type will be 2-bedroom premium. Okay, same thing, these two, type B3P and type B4P, both are 700 square feet, 2-bed 2-bath. I can't really tell much of a difference again. Okay, type B3P is facing AYE, type B4P facing the school. As of now, we are not sure whether or not there is any premium on the facing itself, so I don't really want to touch much on it. But if you were to ask me if you want to exit in future, is it easier for a unit facing the highway or a unit facing a school to exit? I would think that I personally would still avoid the highway, and I will prefer school facing, but it's ultimately up to you lah. Highway, sometimes the noise can be quite annoying, right? Okay, so if you were to look at the layout, the only thing I can highlight to you is that this walkway is longer, this is shorter, right? And then, I have talked about this in my previous video, the visibility of buyers when they step into the house. So let's say you step into here, and because of the longer walkway, your visibility is probably like that. Compared to someone who just walk a few steps and they can see all this. It is not very big, but it is still bigger. So when you are there, and if you were to exit next time, buyers can feel the difference. So if because of that, right, I would prefer step B3 because of the shorter walkway. But really, other than that, I don't see much of a difference. And now, price prediction for Elta 2-bed 2-bath 700 square feet. Okay, assuming 2002 PSF, starting from price 1.54, and the highest level can be up to 1.86 million. 2+ study is the last unit type for 2-bedder at 807 square feet. When I look at this, right, I find that it is really very, very big. 807 square feet for a 2-bedroom plus study. Just FYI, Ori 2-bed plus study is only 700 square feet. Both are post-harmonized project, and the 700 square feet is actually Elta's 2-bed 2-bath layout. If I were to summarize it, Ori's 2-bed 2-bath plus study is the same size as Elta's 2-bed 2-bath. And Elta's 2-bed 2-bath plus study has crossed 800 square feet. In Ori, their 3 compact is only about 850 square feet. So can you imagine, in Ori, there are 3 compact, 3 proper rooms, 1 enclosable kitchen, and a store, 800 plus square feet. And this is a 2-bed plus study, also 800 plus square feet. Okay, one thing I want to highlight is that yes, no doubt that this is a really big size. I have personally seen this unit at the show flat. It is one of the unit in the show flat. When you step in, right, whoa, this space is massive. Usually for 2-bed 2-bath plus study or any type of 2-bedder, right, you only have like a corner that is designated for dining. It will be at a corner, right, or in the middle, nearing to the living. But this has a whole space designated for dining. So when I were to step in, right, I finally understood, wow, this is huge. But at that point in time when I was at the show flat, I didn't know it is 807. I was just I was just thinking, wow, this two-bedder is really huge, man. Like, is it the how the ID did it or how the layout was like? I didn't really study it clearly yet, but now I can understand because it's really huge. It's 807 square feet. So now let's go right into the price prediction for Elta 2-bed plus study 807 square feet. Same thing, using our formula starting from 2002 PSF, the starting from price should be around 1.775 and it can go all the way up to 2.15 million. Okay, so let's say if you are going for a 2 plus study unit, this price point or this price quantum is very, very important to you because there and then you should be deciding if I cannot get when it's my turn and there is no longer the floor unit that I want and I have to pay crossover 2 million, do I want to proceed or should I actually consider upgrading to a 3-bedder unit or downgrading to a 2-bed 2-bath unit that is still within my budget? So with all this pricing, it is easier for you to calculate your budget accurately. At least you know that at that point in time, if this thing were to happen, plus minus in terms of quantum, you know what to do. You won't be at a situation whereby you are stuck and eventually you may walk away because you feel that, oh, the units that I want within my budget is gone. So I can't make a decision at that point in time. It's going to be a very stressful environment. Then probably I just will have to walk away, which is a pity, right? Because if you're very well prepared, I'm sure you would have, even if you want to walk away confidently. So I understand that mostly when people go for the 2-bedder unit, they will be looking at probably an investment point of view or even for own stay for small families. But today, I would like to have this special segment to talk about more on the analysis on the investment point of view if you were to enter the highly contested 2-bedder unit in Elta. Right. So first thing, we are going to use the case study in a 2-bedder rental in Clermont to do the price comparison and to show you some numbers. The first question would be, would a 2-bed 1-bath fetch a lower yield compared to a 2-bed 2-bath? I mean, sometimes as investors, we always tell you when you go in, right, they are very focused because they are numbers driven. But we also want to help you in case you go in and at your queue, you are not able to get a unit for 2-bed 2-bath that you want. Does it make sense for you to go into a 2-bed 1-bath? All right. And then I know even myself, right, I also feel that 2-bed 2-bath stands, it's actually slightly more superior than a 2-bed 1-bath in many aspects. Like, if this is not just one family staying, it's not just for one person, it's actually a family staying. It is always better to have a two bathroom. But I would say that this is a more emotional side of the decision making. But let's look at the numbers. For 2-bed 1-bath in Clermont, not facing the highway, back in December 2024, the 1802 actually fetched 4,001 in monthly rental. And similarly, just 1 month apart in January 2025, 2-bed 2-bath in Clermont is fetching a 4,600 monthly rental. Okay, let's break it down, yeah? Assuming in Elta, you were to get a 2-bed 1-bath at 1.35 million and with a 4,001 monthly rental, the rental yield is 3.6, right? And assuming you enter 2-bed 2-bath at 1.54 starting from, with a rental yield of 4,006, your rental yield is also 3.6. So this is what I want to show you. The rental yield actually is about the same for 2-bed 1-bath and 2-bed 2-bath. And in case you still don't understand why, because of the price quantum. The price quantum for 2-bed 2-bath is usually lower compared to a 2-bed 2-bath. And then if you are to look at it in terms of the rental yield calculation, it works out to be the same, even with a higher monthly rental. All right, so This is just one of the case. How about comparing between low floor and high floor? Okay, so let's look at Cleveland again. Okay, there is a level 4 unit that's rented out for 4,001, and then there's also an 18th floor unit rented out for also 4,100. Let's translate back into Elta's perspective. Okay, assuming a monthly rental of 4,002, and if I were to buy a low floor unit level 4 at 1.35, the rental yield is actually 3.7%. If I were to buy a high floor unit at level 39 at 1.6, the rental yield is actually 3%. How come I'm able to show you the rental yield so clearly? It's because I already have a price prediction for me to work on. And which is why I'm telling you guys, if you are a serious buyer in Elta, this price prediction is actually very, very important. Because it becomes very clear to you. It's clarity, right? So the strategy, if you want to decide between low floor and high floor, would be to buy as low price as possible. And which translates to buying lower floor lah. Because high floor, naturally with the premium per floor jump and with all the additional premium in between, plus the high floor with unblocked view especially, you are definitely going to pay a lot more for a higher floor unit, right? So high floor does not guarantee higher rental yield, as we can see from this Cleveland's example. I hope that you are still following me, okay? Let's move on to the next example. Expressway facing versus non-expressway facing. Okay, so I mean like in a way we are trying to find out whether the facing matters when it comes to rental. Okay, and then same thing, we are basing it on Cleveland, and there is a expressway AYE facing rented out for 4,500, and there's a non-AYE facing rented out for 4,600. The difference is just $100. I do not think that is significant enough for me to go for a non-highway facing if the developer actually puts a premium for that facing. But if I'm going to buy it with the thought of also thinking of exiting in future, I may take into consideration. Because it is true that people, when they buy for resale, especially for own stay, they do have a preference. It becomes a very emotional buy, and these are a few factors that actually affects their decision making. So for certain group of people, if they do not like the AYE or the highway facing, then you might lose this group of buyers potentially in future when you try to exit if you were to go for AYE facing. But like I've mentioned, in this special segment, I'm just going to touch on the rentability of the different facing. And in conclusion, there's no difference. So same thing, all whatever information here is just for you to digest and to make an informed decision for your own purchase. Okay, now that we have already analyzed our two-bedder unit types, our top choices for two-bedders would be in this sequence. B1, which is the AYE facing, and B2, which is the school facing low floor, which is level 4 to level 5, ranging from around 1.35 to 1.42 million. Followed by second choice, B1, B2, mid floor, okay, level 16 to probably around 25 out of the 39 units, 39 levels, and the price would be 1.43 to 1.5 million. And our last choice would be B3, B4, low floor, 4 to 15. Because of the quantum, as you can see, is also about 1.5 million to 1.6 million. So our strategy to go for a two-bedder, as I've shown you previously, is to go for the cheapest. So cheapest would be probably AYE facing low floor first, and then followed by the mid floor. And when it will reach a certain point whereby the bigger units are actually about the same price for the low floor, then we will go for the low floor. All right, moving on to the 3-bedroom analysis. There are only two types of 3-bedroom, type C1 and type C2P. So for type C1, it is actually a 3 compact 926 square feet, stack 4 and 9. And I've mentioned previously that this is the only unit type with 2 stacks. Right, and this is school facing. 72 units. For the other one, type C2P, it is a 3-bedroom premium where you can see that it has the yard and study area and all that coming in already. Stack 2 school facing as well. Okay, let's look at the layout. First thing first, for the 3 compact, right, there is no yard and there's no home shelter, but it has very, very good entry price. If you were to use the formula for the pricing prediction, right, it can start from maybe about 2.03 or 2.04 million starting from price. For a 3 compact, it's actually very, very palatable for especially upgraders who wants to go for 3 bedroom. It is only a starting from price of 2.0x, you know. Right. And then, okay, one thing that I want to highlight in the layout is that you can see this is the master room, this is the common room 1, and for the common room 2, it is actually facing this way. So we know that this facing is the school, right? But for this bedroom, you can see the window is over here, so it has an alternate facing. So you have to find out what is that facing in case it is something that you do not want, like facing a wall or something like that, okay? Right, and then for type C2P, it is a dumbbell layout. You see? So there is a master room 1, 2, 3. So all are facing the same direction, which is facing the school. You do have a dry kitchen, a wet kitchen, and there is this flexi study area. Actually, I do quite like this layout because I find that there are a lot of ways to play with the space. If you were to enclose this area, you can even change it into a store or something like that if you want to have some closed compartment, right? So the only thing the downside that I can find for this 1023 3-bedder premium layout is that the bathroom over here has no window. Even the smaller one, right, has a window here, but this one, the common bath does not have a window, so there might be some lack of ventilation over there. Okay, then other than that, I do find that the layout is very decent. So price prediction for a 3-bedroom. So if you are looking to purchase a 3-bedroom in Elta, there are a few things that you must really, really look out for. Okay, because typically a 3-bedroom compact, because of the palatable entry price, is going to be very, very competitive. Depending on your queue number, you may be priced out by then, or you may not even have a chance to select. Because even in Ori, the 3-bedroom compact was sold out like even before you reach, I mean, maybe just a halfway mark of the total queue, you know, it's sold out already, the whole unit type for the 3-bedroom compact. And I do find that with this kind of pricing, it is going to be very, very popular. So you have to plan ahead if you want to go for this. All right. So for this 3-bedroom compact, if you don't manage to get it, then you have to calculate your budget to see. Actually, if you're getting it for own stay, you may want to consider your budget to upsize it to maybe a 3-bedroom premium or even a 4. But if it's for investment, does it then make sense for you to downgrade? I mean, ultimately, if you want to invest, right, you want to make your money work for you. If you have a chance to choose a good 2-bedder unit, why not? So if you were to look at the price prediction over here, if you are looking at the bigger 3-bedroom, right, at 1023, the starting from price 2.25, and the highest floor can go up to 2.7. Okay, and if you were to look at Elta's 4-bedroom is at 1184, starting from price 2.6, the highest is 3.14. So if you were to look at these two numbers, that's where you can start to make a decision already. Do you want to go for a higher floor 3-bedroom premium unit, or do you want to then explore other options of 4-bedder lower floor to see if it makes more sense? I mean, if you were to look at this price prediction, there is a chance, right, that the low floor, bigger unit, 4-bedder, extra 1 room is cheaper than a high floor 3-bedroom. These are all for your guide and for you to digest to see if it makes sense. Okay, the next bedroom type will be the 4-bedroom analysis. Let's dive right in. Okay, for the 4-bedroom, there is type D1, 1184 AYE facing, as well as type D2P, 1313 school facing. Alright, so for this type D1 and type D2, if you were to look at the layout side by side, I can't really tell too much of a difference. As you can see, this one, there's a dry kitchen. There's also a dry kitchen. There's a wet kitchen, and there is a home shelter here, and this one is a store. And what are the other difference? Okay, for here you have a junior master, which is slightly bigger. And other than that, right, this walkway is longer. So I believe that's also where the size actually goes into. But other than that, I do think that the layout is pretty much similar. Okay, and if you were to look at this size, 1313 square feet, it is also the same size as the next 4-bedder unit type that I'm going to talk about, which is the dual key unit. This is the 4-bedder dual key unit, also at 1313 square feet, AYE facing. So if you were to walk in here, you have this studio or 1-bedder unit here. There is a balcony, okay, and it has a small kitchenette over here. A pretty much proper studio. And of course, when you come into here, this would be your 3-bedder unit. Okay, there is dry kitchen, wet kitchen, and even a store. And it is actually a very, very livable space. So same thing, there is a bedroom here that has alternate facing instead of here, which is the AYE facing. So this would be something that you need to check what is it actually facing. Same thing for this unit over here. So for dual key unit, it actually is a very interesting unit type, right? As we know, people buy it, usually they will want to rent out the dual key additional studio over there, and then they own stay, the bigger one. Or they can also stay in the studio and they rent out a bigger one. Or maybe they are really buying for own stay because they have multi-generational, they want to house their parents there. And one thing that we have found out is if you were to buy it for investment, purely for investment, meaning to say you don't want to stay, then you can potentially get a very high rental yield of 4%. Assuming you purchase at this price, again, we have the price prediction and starting from 2.2, you can rent it out at 9,900 per month. If I were to break it down, 1-bedder in around this area is fetching 3,600, and then 3-bedder is fetching about 6,300. And if you add together, it's about 10,000, close to 10,000 rental per month. So the rental yield is actually very high. But then again, if you want to buy a 4-bedroom purely for the rental yield, you will have difficulty to exit next time. So if you can't really sell it as well as a normal 4-bedroom unit, because when you want to exit next time, the next group of buyers that's going to come in to buy your unit are most likely going to be for own stay. Own stay buyers are emotional. They go by feelings. So generally, they prefer a proper 4-bedroom compared to a 4-bedroom dual key unit because they might have to do some renovation. Unless they are coming in as a small family who only needs a 3-room and then they have intention to rent out the other one, then that's different. But then what are the chances that you can run into this particular group of people? So if you were to ask me, dual key and a normal 4-bedroom, I will still prefer a normal 4-bedroom for exit strat, for easier exit next time. And the last 4-bedroom unit type would be a 4-bedroom plus study, huge, 1507 square feet, type D4S, located at stack 13 facing the AYE. I think I've mentioned previously, right, for this Elta, somehow the bigger units that is seemingly for own stay are facing the AYE side. So it's really very hard for us to determine, is that actually less premium or more premium? Or is developer going to add the premium there? So now with the base guide for the price prediction, if the developer really were to put a pricing there, you can still use that guide lah. Because as we have taken Nava Grove different phasing, for example, the strategy has been consistent, just slight difference of 0.1, 0.2%. All right. Okay, so for here, you can see that this living area and dining is really huge, yeah? So you walk in, you have a home shelter, you have a WC, you have this very big study, okay? And then after that, your rooms are over here. One thing is that there is no junior master for a 4-bedroom plus study. Usually, for people coming in, the profile, right, they may prefer junior master and private lift, which I don't see it here, right? Yeah, then it is also a portrait living space instead of landscape. A landscape will look usually more spacious. A portrait will be like that, straight one. Not saying that it is not good. I'm just saying that sometimes people may prefer landscape, especially for bigger units. Yeah. And the price prediction for this unit type is around 3.3 million starting from. And with that kind of price range, your next door neighbor, Clevon, they have a 4-bedroom premium, built-in area 1,582 square feet, pre-harmonized, post-harmonized, so livable space around the same, and they managed to put in a private lift. And this private lift, when you walk out here, you get this whole landscape view of your living. And this is what I mean by landscaping. Okay, this view, right, it makes a difference compared to a portrait. Right? Imagine like you stand here and then you have all the space over here. Rather than you stand here, the space is over here, then you still have to walk. It just don't feel as luxurious and spacious. Then again, I'm not trying to say that a 4-bedroom plus study in Elta has a lousy layout. I think it's standard. Just that if I were to make a direct comparison to Clevon, there are some differences. And in this case, Clevon's 4-bedroom premium may be more superior. Moving on to my last bedroom type, 5-bedroom analysis. Its 5-bedroom is really huge. 1,776 square feet. Okay, let's take a look at the layout. It's also facing AYE, yeah. So for 5-bedroom, I would say that 90% of the chance people buy for own stay, unless they just buy to keep and they don't want to stay there. But ultimately, when you were to exit, your next group of buyers coming in will buy for own stay. I mean, firstly, the quantum is not small, yeah. Even if you look at the starting from, it's about 3.9 million, thereabout. Okay, granted that this is a bigger unit type, maybe the starting from might be 2001XX. It is still a huge quantum for people to come in to buy and not stay and rent it out. The numbers just don't make sense. Okay, so if you were to buy for own stay and developer build it facing the AYE, is questionable, but we shall see how it goes. Okay, so this layout, when you come in, dry kitchen, wet kitchen, you have a utility as well as a home shelter. Very good. You have one junior master here, slide dumbbell. Oh, you have another junior master over here, followed by your master room, bedroom 4, bedroom 5. You have a landscape living, which is also very good. So after watching so many of my videos, or rather even just with these videos, can you see what is lacking here? Yes, private lift. There is no private lift, right? There is no private lift for this 5-bedroom, massive sized in Elta. for buyers of such profile coming in, yes, they will like it because the master room is huge. It has 2 rows of wardrobe, and then it has a his and her sink. You have ample space in the master. You feel big, luxurious. You have 2 junior master. I'm not sure if it's good or bad because I do feel that 1 is enough, but okay, I think 2 is fine. And then you have a portrait living, you have home shelter, dry and wet kitchen, but you're sharing the same lift as everyone else. I mean, you come back to like a palace, but even before you reach the palace, right, you are taking the same lift as everybody else. So this is it's not very wholesome, the experience. So that's why I find that for big units, this kind of quantum, this kind of profile, buyer's profile, private lift is actually very important, right? And I mean, if surrounding every, in this whole of Clementi, no other developments have private lift, then maybe I will research more. Is it because the demo of the people there typically don't enjoy private lift living, something like that? But let's see. Same thing, Clavon, just right beside your neighbor, the newest kid before Elta. Their 5-bedroom premium has a private lift. Yeah, and their master room is also huge with a long wardrobe. May not be as big as Elta. I can't really see from here, but as you can see Elta, there's another row of wardrobe over here. Yeah, they have 1 junior, which is pretty standard, and they have private lift. I mean, if I were to be a consumer coming to view these 2 units, apple to apple, immediately I can tell, this one don't have private lift, this one have private lift. Or even before I come to your unit, I see your unit listing, I see the floor plan, I'll be like asking the agent, hey, this one no private lift. And if you were to enter at this kind of quantum, next time how much are you going to exit? 4 over. And for people coming to buy your unit at 4 over million, there's no private lift. I'm not sure how it's going to be like, but I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, this is still a very, very good and decent layout. It's just that if you have competitor around you, they might make this kind of comparison. And in that sense, you may lose out. All right? Wow, even Park Clementi's have private lift. You see? So at Park Clementi's, they also have a 5-bedroom unit spanning across 1,711 square feet. Okay, they have private lift, they have a junior master, they have this big balcony. And their master is also very big, yeah. They even have a bathtub. So you see, this kind, they really cater for the certain group of buyers profile, because I know bathtub these days takes up a lot of space. A lot of condos don't do it anymore. But do you know that I actually have a few groups of clients who are upgrading either from a 3 to 4 bedder or 4 to 5 bedder? They actually do ask me about bathtubs. And most of the time, the newer developments that we view do not have. And I will tell them, if you want, you can build law. You know, now you can customize the bathtub size and all that. So people actually still ask for it. But I find that one is not the crucial thing. The crucial thing is still the private lift. And then just to reiterate, I'm not comparing layout to layout right now. I am really just nitpicking the things that Park Clementi's have over Elta, and that is the private lift in its 5-bedroom unit type. Okay, so with that, I have concluded my project analysis series for Elta. And I just want to highlight the preview starts on the 7th of February 2025. Booking day is on the 22nd of February 2025, which is exactly the same as Parktown Residences. If you have any queries moving forward, feel free to contact me. I will leave my contact details below. And then I'll see you next time. Bye.